Hi, this is Eric Besserell, and this is MPA 510. This is my week 3 multimedia discussion. I'm going to go over Luther K. Gulick's notes on theory of organization, Robert K. Merton's bureaucratic structure and personality, and Paul Appleby's government is different. And I'm going to see how they apply their theories and their ideas and how those are connected to local city government. In Luther Gulick's notes on theory of organization, he says, why divide work? Because men differ in nature, capacity, and skill, and gain greatly in dexterity by specialization, because the same man cannot be at two places at the same time, because the range of knowledge and skill is so great that a man cannot, within his lifespan, know more than a small fraction of it. And doing so, Gulick was able to coin the acronym POST-CORB, which stands for Planning, Organizing, Staffing, Directing, Coordinating, Reporting, and Budgeting. Now, this all ties to local public government, stemming from how the council is elected in, and these elected officials are able to hire a city manager, which oversees the city clerk, and all the other departments that are able to administer the day-to-day tasks for the city hall. Now, not one individual person is able to handle all of the roles that that department does, or even that division. So what we do is we have specialized individuals which are able to get hired through human resources, rigorous hiring processes, and they're able to do a specific task and job, which ends up leading to efficiency for the overall task that the department or the entire division does, which in the end fulfills the goals of City Hall. In the readings by Robert K. Merton, uh, in his writings Bureaucratic Structure and Personality, I like the quote where he says, "The bulk of bureaucratic offices involve the expectation of lifelong tenure in the absence of disturbing factors which may decrease the size of the organization. Bureaucracy maximizes vocational security. The function of security of tenure, pensions, incremental salaries, regularized procedures for promotion is to ensure the devoted performance of official duties without regard for extraneous pressures." Now, what Merton was able to do is emphasize how these incentives gave individuals that were interested in either going into government or non-government entities a bigger motivation to join government agencies, because they were able to have a longer expected career and lifespan within that organization, because the structure that government gives in their organization, in such as they do with incremental salaries and retirement incentives, these ideas are able to give individuals, like I said, an incentive to be able to function at a higher performance due to the ability of seeing themselves in there for a longer period of time. So less turnover is the goal with government, because what it does is it gives the people a more consistent consistent personnel or staff, so that there's less confusion and there's more efficiency. So these people that are working in government, a lot of the ones that you see in higher or upper management, they may only be in that management role or have been for less than 10 years, but they might have been jumping around within the city or within the county for 20 or 30 years. I personally, at the city of Indio, have seen people work there that I work with that have been there for over 30 years, which is actually a high number of individuals. So I can personally say that there is an incentive for creating these long tenures, which give employees they're more vested in the organization, and so they're able to perform at a higher level. In Paul Henson Appleby's Government is Different, I like the quote where he says, "An administrator coming into government is struck at once and continually thereafter by the press and public interest in every detail of his life, personally and conduct." Appleby is right on the money with this one because we constantly see on the news local, federal, state officials under the microscope for everything that they do. Anything from having the governor open up his restaurant while every other small business is closed, to local small government being under the microscope, having officials get arrested, even in instances. There's an article where we see a city manager getting arrested, um, and what we see is the constant view from the public. Social media has made it very easy to follow these constituents or these government employees and see what they're spending their money on, who they work with, what private companies they own, and they are constantly under scrutiny. So they're expected to work at a higher level, which is why the compensation that we see from Merton is really key in this, because the public is paying for these employees to work at a higher level and to make sure that they are being fair, unbiased when they are working with the private organizations. We're constantly seeing the like people such as the planning department having to work very closely with private organizations, private developers, and make sure that they're not giving them more authority than other developers, because that can lead to arrests or lawsuits towards the city or the county. So it's very important that these individuals that are hired to work in public administration are making sure that they have a clean slate and they're not doing things they shouldn't be doing, especially in the public eye, because these skeletons in their closets do come up, especially with technology now. We see that it's very easy for people to find anything that they're trying to hide. So these incentives to become employees for the government should serve as also basically a set of regulations that the individual has to adhere to, and the incentive itself will motivate them to be a good employee and not fall under any sort of scrutiny outside of work hours, or even during work hours. So, in conclusion, we can apply all three theories from these three individuals to local city government. Golick, he is right. We need to have bureaucratic structure. We need to have a form of hierarchy in government in order to prevent overlap and to create more efficiency. Merton is correct in the fact that there needs to be incentives to create higher performance by these elected officials or these hired officials in public administration. And Appleby is also correct in the fact that these people that are hired are held to a higher standard because they're under public scrutiny, so they need to make sure that they're acting accordingly. Overall, you can apply all three of these to local city government. And so I'd like to hear your comments below. And I hope to talk more about this local city government, as I feel that a lot of these theories apply to it. Thank you and have a good day.